Hello students of class 7. Now, if we see in history, we have completed 2 chapters where we have learned about 2 major religions, that is the rise and spread of Christianity and rise and spread of Islam. Now, let us move to civics. Today, let us start the first chapter in civics, that is the Constitution of India. Let us first try and understand what is constitution. Now, a constitution is a set of laws according to which a country is governed. That means a constitution is a set of rules, okay, or principles that is uniform for everyone according to which a country will be governed. So a constitution tells the relationship between the citizen of the country and the government. It also defines whether the government is a democratic government or whether we have a monarchy, king's rule. So a constitution sets all the rules which are laid down, and the government need to follow these rules and regulations which are laid down in the constitution. Now, how this constitution came about? Let us learn about the making of the constitution. Now, you all know that we became free, or India got its independence on 15th August 1947. For almost 2 centuries, we were ruled by the British. That is from the 1757 to the 1947. Till then, we were under the British rule. And the Indians were bound to follow the laws that were set by the British Parliament. So, India became free in 1947. And after gaining freedom, the freedom fighters of India, or the leaders, they wanted to have a free democratic India. So to fulfill their dream of being a free democratic India, they formed a group. Now this happened in the year 1946 when a cabinet mission was sent by the British to India. And the aim of this cabinet mission was to transfer the power from the British to the Indian leaders. So, in this cabinet mission, the power was transferred from the British to the Indian leaders. So, the Indian leaders now had the task to frame a constitution. So, what did they do? They formed a group. This group was known as the Constituent Assembly. Okay? And this was set up in the year 1946. There were about 385 members of this group. And this group included people from various states, people belonging to various religions. Even the minority communities were included in this group. Now, what is minority community? People, okay, or the communities that belong to the Sikhs, the Jains, the Buddhists, the Christians, the Muslims. All these are the minority communities in our country. So there were the members in this group from the minority communities from various states, and also the members, okay, the people who belong to the weaker sections of the society, that is from the scheduled caste, the scheduled tribes, and also from the backward classes. Now, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the president or the chairman of this Constituent Assembly. This Constituent Assembly formed a smaller group, okay, of drafting committee which included 8 members, okay, so that these leaders could sit together and discuss and frame this constitution. B.R. Ambedkar was the chairman of the drafting committee. Okay. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who was the chairman of the drafting committee. Okay, the group that was formed to write the constitution. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, okay, he was the president of the Constituent Assembly, the group. And there were also other members of the drafting committee. Some of the eminent members of the drafting committee were Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, okay, Sarojini Naidu and Vallabhbhai Patel. Okay, these were the other members of the drafting committee. Now it took about 2 years, 11 months and 17 days to frame the constitution. And the constitution was adopted on 26th November 1949. But it came into force on 26th January 1950. Since then, right from 1950, okay, 26th January is celebrated as the Republic Day all over India. Okay, I will explain to you what is the meaning of Republic in the same lesson. Now let us see about the features of our constitution. Now, our constitution, the Indian constitution, is said to be the lengthiest constitution in the world. It contains 470 articles and 12 schedules. Okay, this is as per the report of year 2019. Okay, earlier the constitution contained only 395 articles. Now what are these articles? These articles are like the guidelines, okay, that help us to frame the rules or the laws. And they, initially it had only 8 schedules. So there are many changes which have taken place in the constitution. Second important feature of our constitution is that it is called the Supreme Rule Book of the country. Now why it is called the Supreme Rule Book? Because firstly, our constitution determines the rights of the citizens of the country. So all the rights are mentioned in the constitution. Secondly, our constitution also defines the power of the government, the organs of the government, how a government is formed and how the government functions. That is why it is known as the Supreme Rule Book of the country. Thirdly, it is a written constitution. Okay, there are many countries who have the constitution which is unwritten. Now what do you mean by written constitution? Okay, it says that the constitution defines precisely all the fundamental rights of the individual. Okay, it is a document which clearly states how the citizen of a country should behave, the duties of the citizen of the country. Okay, so these are the important features. There are also the other features, but these are the important features of the constitution. That is, it is the lengthiest constitution and it is called the Supreme Rule Book of the country. And thirdly, our constitution is a written constitution. Now our constitution has an introduction, and that introduction is called the preamble. The preamble is not only the introduction of the constitution, but it is the most important part of the constitution. Okay, the preamble is an important part because it is like an outline of the entire values which are mentioned in the constitution. This is the preamble, okay, which was framed in the beginning, and there are many changes also to the recent preamble. Now if you see here, there are these terms: sovereign, democratic, republic. Initially our country was declared only to be sovereign, democratic and republic. Okay, in the new preamble the changes are, there are 2 terms which are added to the new preamble, that is socialist and secular. Okay, so our country is also declared to be socialist and secular, and these changes were done in the year 1976. Here, this is a recent copy. Okay, I'll read the preamble to you. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and unity of the nation. Now, the terms that you see here, socialist, sovereign, secular, democratic, republic, these 5 terms, they define the nature of our country, the nature of our constitution. And the terms justice, liberty, equality and fraternity are the aims to be met by our country. So these are the aims and objectives of our constitution. Okay, we will deal with all these terms. First, let us learn about the aims of our constitution. Now, if you see our constitution, it begins with the term we the people of India. So the constitution is declared in the name of the citizen of the country. The first aim of constitution is justice. Our constitution aims at acquiring justice to all individuals. Okay? Justice in terms of social, economic and political justice. Now, what is justice? It says that all the citizens are equal before law. Okay? Social justice, no discrimination will be made based on the religion, the caste, the creed, okay, or the race that you belong to. Economical justice, okay, it refers to the economy. That is, the country needs to support the individuals. In the economic, if the country wants to have the economic development of the of India. Next is political justice. Okay, it refers to the electing of representatives. Each and every citizen has the right to vote, and this right should be given to all individuals. Okay, so we have justice, that is social, economic and political. The second aim of constitution is liberty. Liberty means freedom. So we in our country aims at having, or we already have, freedom of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. That means we are free to think and express ourselves. We are also free to believe or have faith, okay, in any entity or believe in any God, any personality, okay, that we wish. We are also free to worship any deity, any God, okay, of our choice. So, second aim of constitution is freedom or liberty. Liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship. The next aim is equality, and equality of status and opportunity. Now, what do you mean by equality of status? Here it refers to the social status in the country. All of us are equal before law. Okay, whether we belong to the middle section of the society, or we belong to the higher section of the society, or we belong to the lower section of the society, we should all be treated equally as a citizen of the country. So equality, and secondly opportunity. Each and every individual should be given the same opportunity, same provisions should be provided to all the individuals. Okay, so equality of status and equality of opportunity. And the last is fraternity. The last ideal that we have to understand is fraternity. Now, what is fraternity? Fraternity refers to the spirit of brotherhood, oneness, Okay, we all know that India is a diverse country where we have different cultures. People belonging to different states, they follow different cultures, they speak different languages. Okay, but towards the end, we have unity. We live in unity, which means that we are tolerant, okay, to these differences in the individuals. That is being oneness, being fraternity. Even if you have read in history, you must have seen, okay, or you must have read that there was active participation of all the people, of all the freedom fighters or leaders, whether they belong to any religion, okay, active participation of all to gain freedom, okay, to make India an independent country. That is fraternity. So these are the four ideals or four aims, that is justice, liberty, equality and fraternity that our country aims at, okay, or the goals of the constitution. Next, let us learn about the nature of our constitution. Okay, I told you that our country, India, is declared as a sovereign country, a socialist country, a secular country and a democratic and a republic country. Okay, now what do you understand by a sovereign country or sovereign state? Okay, how come India is said to be a sovereign state? Now, our country India is said to be independent. Now what do you mean by this? That means our country is all powerful to frame its own policies or to make its own laws. No other country can control or even interfere in the policies of our country or in the affairs of our country. Our country can decide with which country it wants to have trade. It can also decide with which country it wants to have peace. Okay, so it can form its own policies. That means that it is a sovereign state or a sovereign country. Next is, our country is a socialist country. That means that is fair distribution of wealth, means that. Okay, now here what it means is that when we say it is a socialist country, okay, when we say India is a socialist country, it says that India aims at reducing the gap between the rich and the poor and in a way eliminate discrimination between the society, the social status. And for this, many steps have been taken by the government, especially by the state government. Like if you know, the government provides food articles or sometimes the eatables at lower prices on the shops. Okay. Secondly, it also helps financially for the people who cannot afford, or in case of employment, jobs are also given to the people. Then it also gives financial assistance to the needy, to the poor people, to the old age people or people who are sick. The country also tries to improve the economy of the country, okay, by having different techniques which are now introduced in the field of farming through the 5-year plans. Okay, there are many steps that are taken to have or to improve the economy of our country and reduce the gap between the rich and the poor. Next is, India is said to be a secular country. Now, according to the constitution, it is also mentioned that India didn't have any official religion. Okay, we the citizens of the country are free to practice, to preach, to profess any religion that we wish. So India is said to be a secular country. Next is democratic. Okay, the next concept is democratic. India is said to be a democratic country. Now what is democratic? Okay, it is said that in India we are free. There is democracy. Okay, and it works on the universal adult franchise or adult franchise. Okay, that means we in our country have the right to vote. That means we the people can elect our own representatives who will govern us. And suppose if we feel that these representatives that were elected by us are not worthy enough, or if you're not satisfied or happy with these elected representatives, then we can also remove them, and for the next election we can vote for the other candidates. That means, okay, we have the right to elect our own representatives. Our own, so it is the government that is by the people, for the people and of the people. That is why it is called India as a democratic government. Lastly, India is said to be a republic, okay, republic country, which means that, okay, there is no hereditary ruler or there is no king's rule, okay. We have the head of the state, that is the president, and he is also ruling, okay, or takes over for a certain or limited period of time. His term of office is 5 years, it is fixed time. So after he has served, okay, there will be the next person. So we have the head of the state, that is the president, and we do not have the hereditary ruler in our country. That is why our country is known as republic. Now, our constitution has also offered some rights to all the citizens of the country, and these are known as the fundamental rights. Now, what are these fundamental rights? These fundamental rights are the basic rights that helps to protect the individual of the country. We in India have 6 fundamental rights, that is right to equality, right to education, right to freedom of religion, right against exploitation, cultural rights, and rights to constitutional remedies. Okay, let us take the first one, equality. Okay, we have discussed equality before. Okay, what do you understand in equality? It says that every individual is equal. We need to treat everyone equally. Okay, they may belong to any caste, any religion, but we need to treat them equally. No, we cannot practice caste system. Okay, untouchability is also abolished, so it is an offense. And no one can prevent us to, from using the public places like hospitals, then parks, theaters, malls, etc. Okay, there should be equality in the society. What is right to education? Now, according to the Right to Education Act, okay, that came about in the year 2009, it says that each and every child should be given free and compulsory education between the age of 6 and 14. Okay, so what is the RTE Act? It says that every child has the right to get educated from the age of 6 to 14 years. That too free and compulsory education. So we can join any school, any college of our choice. Next is right to freedom of religion. Okay, we had discussed this when we said that our country India is a secular country. Okay, so what is right to freedom of religion? It means that we are free to practice any religion. Okay, now here if you see, there are many financial assistance given by the government even to the minority communities to start with their own religious institutions or educational institutions. If they want to run any religious institutions like monasteries, ashrams or madrasas, financial assistance is also given by the government. Okay, and also if they want to start their own educational institution, it also states secondly that no other majority community can dominate over the minority communities. That is right to freedom of religion. Next is right against exploitation. Okay, all of us as a citizen of the country have equal rights. We have spoken about that. Okay, now sometimes what happens is due to poverty, okay, especially the weaker sections of the society or the other underprivileged like the women or the children, okay, are bound to work in a very unhealthy conditions, okay, and for long hours and for low wages. So what happens here? We cannot force the children or women to work. We cannot exploit the children and the women. Okay, they also have the right. Okay. Secondly, the cultural rights. We have discussed about this. Okay, I told you India has a diverse culture. We belong to so many different states, and each and every state has its own culture. The Constitution has given us a right to maintain or to preserve our own culture, so that we can transmit this culture to our future generations. Okay, that is the cultural right of the individual, to preserve their own culture and to follow the culture which we wish. Last is the right to constitutional remedies. Okay, now we know we have so many different rights. That is, right to equality, right to education, right to freedom of religion, right to speech, expression, belief, faith, worship, right against exploitation, cultural rights. Okay, all these rights will have no meaning if they are not protected. That is why we have the Constitution. Okay, so we can anytime approach the judiciary or the court if we feel that our rights are violated. Okay, so that is why we have the right to constitutional remedies. Okay, that is, we can approach the judiciary. So what do we understand or what do we learn from these rights that we have, the fundamental rights that we have? Okay, firstly, that we should not misuse the rights that is given to us by our country, and we should also respect the freedom of the other human beings if we want to live in a very healthy environment. Okay, with this we come to the end of this topic. In this topic we have learned about the Constitution. Okay, what is a Constitution? It is a set of rules. Secondly, we learned about the preamble. Okay, and then we learned different ideas which are mentioned in the preamble, which speaks about the nature of the Constitution and the aims and objectives of the Constitution. And lastly, Constitution comprises of the fundamental rights, the 6 fundamental rights. Okay, thank you.